to be governed by an unsavory dictator. It's the only way I can describe Mr. Lukashenko. We have been unsuccessful so far, we meaning the United States, Western European countries, to support. We've been unsuccessful in our efforts to support opposition parties that would hopefully grow and be willing to take more responsibility and so on and so forth. All our efforts over the last decade have not led to anything useful. Mr. Lukashenko is still in power. The United States has just adopted the Belarus Sanction Act or something like that a week or two ago. My own country and the partners in the European Union are considering additional sanctions against Belarus, and I can only hope that rather sooner than later, the political landscape in Belarus will change so that Belarus can take its place in a European family of nations that are all governed, that's the goal, by the rule of law, by democratic procedures, and by freedom. If I may add to that, just as a footnote, just one final thought. When you think about Europe, please think of Europe also in terms of Europe as the region in the world that has created and that has had more transformation than any other region in the world over the last 10 or 15 years. Political, military, social, and economic transformation. Just try to remember what a country like Hungary or Poland looked like 15 years ago and where they are today. They have a different economic system, they have a different social system, they have a different political system, they have a different country. They are a free nation. They have totally changed, and only to the positive. Which is why I believe that as we talk about transforming the greater Middle East or other, fancy ideas, let's try to benefit a little bit from the collective experience of those countries that really know a lot about transformation. I cannot claim that I know a lot about transformation, but some Germans know a lot about transformation because 18 million Germans lived in the former GDR and have been part of this process of transformation. And you know what we found out? We found out that it is relatively easy to throw a lot of money at the problem, to renovate the highways, to install broadband internet connections, to build modern production facilities. That is all doable, and it has happened. What we found out is far harder than the internet connections is changing the way people think. That turned out to be the hard part. And I suspect that what's true in the case of Germany or Hungary or Russia is probably also true in the case of countries in the greater Middle East, where you're dealing not only with the different social system and political system, but you're also dealing with a very, very different religious tradition, and one that, of course, is more reminiscent of medieval times in Europe than of the 20th or 21st century in Europe or America. So let's not underestimate the enormous difficulties of changing the way people think about themselves, about religion, about the political system they want to live in. That's very hard. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't be engaged in it, but it's complicated, and it requires a sustained effort, and it requires, above all, a willingness to try to help these people themselves change their way of thinking. If you force them to change the way they think, they will usually not do what you expect them to. That's, again, human nature, and that's probably good. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you for your clarity, your insights, and for your warmth and good words. Thank you all for being here. Good night.